Thank you, Sophia, for that lovely introduction. As somebody who really stepped back from social media and started writing long, rambly letters to all my family and friends last year, I could not be more impressed and excited about your project. Thank you. And thank you so much, girls, right now for this honor. I admit that when I began my career, I had this peculiar antipathy to calling myself a woman writer. Growing up in the 2000s in the US gave me a certain privileged blindness to the struggles of womanhood. Many of the material gains of feminism were already fought for and won by previous generations. My feet were never in danger of being bound. I could vote. I could go to university. I could get birth control. I could dream of being just about anything I wanted, and I only occasionally wished that I had been my father's eldest son instead of the eldest daughter. But women authors are hardly underrepresented in the publishing industry, and I had plenty of role models. So I always found the gender conversation a bit tedious. And in fact, I was so determined to escape the constraints of the female condition that when I wrote my debut novel, The Poppy War, I had the main character get a chemical hysterectomy the day she gets her first period. That's wish fulfillment. I didn't want her to have to think about motherhood or pregnancy, or indeed even about menstruation. I wanted her free of all of that. And my favorite women writers tended to be those who refused to make the limitations of gender a part of their autofictional mythologies, like Joan Didion, Susan Sontag. And I still believe there is value in this stubborn refusal to circumscribe oneself as a woman writer instead of just a writer. But the past few years have been a stark reminder of just how tenuous those gains of feminism have been. 2 years after the Dobbs ruling, 22 million girls and women live in states where abortion is heavily restricted or inaccessible. 2 years after Dobbs, girls and women are dying because the Supreme Court has robbed them of the power to make choices about their own bodies. A lot of us are in this room because we were lucky to escape some of the shackles of womanhood. We have the freedom, in fact, to not think about how our embodiment will limit our freedoms. We can choose motherhood if and when it is desired. We can also choose to pursue our creative dreams. We're in this room because we're the exceptions. So when we think about what it means to be a woman writer, I urge you to think beyond the aesthetically and ethically boring tropes of pop feminism art. The texts that treat feminine success as equivalent to capitalist success, or texts that posit upper-class ennui as a central problem of modern womanhood. I urge you to take seriously the mission statement of Girls Right Now, to focus on those historically disempowered due to their gender. And in your writing and in your moral imaginations, I beg you to consider the teenage girl who will not study creative writing because she has been forced to bear her rapist's child, and the woman whose novel will go unfinished because doctors chose to let her die rather than give her the medical care she needed. I also beg you to vote because it is only through the ballot box that those girls and women may one day get their voices back. We're in this room because our voices were and are heard, and so we must continue to write worlds where all women can narrate their own futures. Thank you so much.